Hi everyone, Michelle here from AIM Human Performance, where we want to help you assess, improve, and maintain your health. In a previous video, I shared with you a couple of beginner balance exercises. Now we're moving on into some intermediate balance exercises, or if you just want to think of it, the next step once you've mastered some of those beginner balance exercises. So you may need to have a chair near you or a wall near you, but since we're moving on and challenging yourselves, it's just going to be there for safety. We may not need to have that chair there all the time. So let's get started and see what we can do. All right, so here we go with some intermediate or just the next step to our balance progression here. In our previous video, we talked about the importance of being able to master standing on your balance beam, one foot in front of the other, right? And we talked about maybe adding in some arm motions with that. And hopefully you've mastered that before you're starting this video, because now we're gonna move on to the next step. Still on your balance beam, still nice and tall with your weight equally dispersed between those 2 feet. Instead of moving your arms, we're going to see if you can move your head now. So you could look to the right or turn your head and look to the left. You can start to work on mastering that side to side. Or you could start to worry about the up and down motion, right? Looking down at the ground at your feet or looking up to where the ceiling is. Back and forth with those motions. And like we talked about previously, you're trying to at least be able to handle that for 10 seconds. Ideally, we'd love to see you be able to do a little bit more of those head motions while standing on your balance beam. Once you've mastered that though, now it's time we can start to add a little bit of single leg balance. So here's where you may want to have your chair nearby, right? This is the first time we're introducing single leg work here. But as we talk about single leg balance, a couple of tips for you. Remember that we must put our belly button over that standing foot, right? You have to do a little shift. If you can see that happening, it's subtle. I'm just moving my belly button over the foot I'm going to stand on. Then that opposite foot's going to go on the floor. We want to have a very strong hip, a very strong thigh, and we want to feel those feet really gripping the floor here. Your single leg balance is your next progression here. And you might have your fingertips on the chair or on that imaginary wall. You're just going to work on, again, maybe 10-second count. Maybe you can get a 30-second count. That would be excellent. Good. And then our final progression, once you master a little bit of that single leg balance, is to put together that head motion or the arm motions that we talked about in our beginner balancer series. So what that would look like is single leg balance, taking that foot off of the floor, right? And then beginning to try some of those arm motions. We talked about moving front to back. Right? We talked about moving side, opening those arms in that plane, right? You could try some arm circles as long as you're working on maintaining that balance. And then if you really want to take it a step further, you could work on those head motions while you're standing on that one foot as well, right? The up and down motion with the head, maybe a little bit of the turning of the head from right to left. Good, and you can put those motions and series together however you'd like to feel like you're challenging yourself, right? I just gave you a bunch of progressions in a row there. Start with something that feels doable and then slowly add those progressions as you get better and better at your balancing. Balance is something that you can practice every day, so keep working on this. Make sure you're practicing your right and your left leg, and let us know how it goes. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us.